Hello class, I hope you are still awake. I cannot speak Italian, so I brought a lot of films and things to look at with me. You can expect from me three things. One is an amazing story about a country, the Netherlands, and the problems they had with automating more than 120 theaters. The second you can expect from me is some secrets, how we did it. And the third is really wild ideas, things that we work on. Before I start, what you see here, translate, this is going to take a long time then. Translate fully. By general, what I tell is not so important.
Ok. Ha detto che le cose che dice poi non sono poi così importanti. No, come l'intervento di prima, tradurrò le parti principali, lui utilizzerà molte video e magari nella parte ultima sulle domande sono a disposizione per la traduzione. Comunque diceva che utilizzerà molti filmati e sarò disponibile magari se avete necessità di una traduzione un po' più specifica, traduciamo. Non lo traduco tutto perché sennò rallenterebbe forse un po' troppo la presentazione.
This is going to be a speech of 2 hours, not 1. Just short that you know what you're looking at. My company is very active in overstage, and this is typically what you see that we do, or our customers do with our equipment and control systems. On the right, very interesting I think, is it looks like a revolve, yes, but actually it is driven by the fly system. Look at this. Here, and you see the bar coming down, and they use the bar and a little rope to go around the revolve to run it. Okay. The story of the growing industry. Okay, just to ease you down and let you get comfortable with the English language, I bring you to one of our projects in England. It's the following. It's the Royal Shakespeare Company, the Trekwerk.
Something extraordinary is happening at the Royal Shakespeare Theatre in Stratford-upon-Avon.
It's nothing much short of a revolution.
It's an iconic site, and we've got a duty and responsibility to really be as inspirational as we can be. The thing that drives us is to create the best performance space for Shakespeare in the world.
And that's the thinking that lies behind the Royal Shakespeare Company's audacious plan to gut this entire great old building and create a complex which will be a destination in itself, in addition to being the very best place in the world to see the works of the world's greatest dramatists.
A really important first step for all of this for us was really to understand the history of the site. There's been a theatre on site for over 100 years. It's gone through a whole lifetime of use, alteration, change, but we have to understand all of that.
It's more than just a building. We had to master plan other buildings around the place, the workshops alongside it, the way to get to the upper theatre along the street and so on. So it was absolutely not just about one auditorium at all.
But at the heart of the whole project is still William Shakespeare.
Shakespeare is synonymous with Stratford. And it's a thrilling place to go. You know, it's a very magical place to go to Stratford. There is nothing quite like saying I've seen Shakespeare at Stratford. The RSC is where I was first bewitched, I think.
The ghosts will remain in those walls. All the great performances that we all either witnessed in the audience or some of us actually performed on those stages will still be retained in the footprint of the new theatre. I think that's very important. Change is always frightening, but I think it's always invigorating too. In some ways it's big changes, and in some ways it's just developing on organically from what we've learned and what we now want to embrace.
What's the old RST building, the furthest member of the audience, 27 metres away from the stage. And now, in this wonderful new thrust RST, we brought that figure right down to 50 metres, I mean half as far away as they were. It's a wonderful lesson we learned from history of the Elizabethan playhouses.
Wow. The core idea of the new theatre is the thrust stage, projecting right out into the audience.
It's the difference between sitting back and watching something and being plucked right into the middle of something. For instance, if you think of Henry V, it's a very different thing Henry being able to go to this person.
Once more under the breach! Dear friends!
Once more, I'll close the wall up with our English dead.
They're right here. Who's not going to get excited by that? Suddenly the audience members aren't just sitting like this, watching that. They're doing this and doing that. This is a democratic space where nobody feels they're being tucked at the back, because there isn't that.
There are nearly 700 people who work for the RSC.
And as an ensemble, the RSC depends on many creative people.
These are the types from Midsummer Night's Dream.
As Jory.
This is from the wig department.
We have milliners, we have wig makers, we have armourists. We will, at the end, have basically rebuilt every part of the company.
You've got a real chance of building a contingent optimistic community with Royal Shakespeare Company. And it will be in a building that's opening itself out to the rest of Stratford, whose front door faces Stratford for the first time ever.
Throughout this great transformation, the RSC will carry on performing in its temporary courtyard theatre. And as always, seeking new audiences.
Have you seen live Shakespeare before?
No, it's the first time I've seen it, so they're not expected, but I don't think it'd be that good, but it was really good.
The comedy at the end of the wall.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was good.
Will you go again?
I'm coming tonight, so...
Growth, development, renewal is critical to any art. You cannot stand still. You stand there.
If you love Shakespeare, you want to promote that passion for it, and you want to also hopefully pass it to somebody else. You want to just pass it on, that somebody else should have the joy that you've had.
There is no other writer who has the worldwide international exposure that Shakespeare has. Shakespeare is important to the cultural life of the entire planet. This project could not be going ahead without individuals or communities paying for the work itself, making a contribution not just to one theatre organisation in the United States, but to the appreciation of what the RSC does worldwide.
We've got the set, costumes, everything. They are so good by nobody else. Gigantic.
That's amazing. Absolutely amazing.
It doesn't get better than this. Really amazing. It's really amazing. It was breathtaking.
So you've come especially to American Theatre just for this? Oh, fantastic.
So I mean, do it again in a heartbeat.
Really?
Oh, absolutely.
This is what we companies do it for. We are technical companies, but we do it for the O and the A of the audience. I always start my lecture with this little film because it brings us back what is important and what is not important. What is important is the show. Okay. This is the Netherlands. It looks like an island, but it is not. On that side there's Germany, on that side there's Belgium, and there's a lot of water inside the Netherlands. Because there's a lot of water, we cannot dig deep, because it is swamp. It means that we do not have a lot of understage machinery, but a lot of upperstage machinery. We have 450 theatres. 120 are big theatres with a hall of the size like this building. Each of these 120 theaters have 50 to 60 bars, fly automated systems. There are two companies in the Netherlands that has done almost all of these theaters. That is Trekwerk BV in Weesp and Trekwerk Steel in the south. This is a picture of the Weesp company. The Weesp company is much about electronics, software and manufacturing. The South company is much about steelworks, constructions, welding. And the companies both cover all the product range. We do everything. Now, what happens in the Netherlands? It's not a very big country, but still there are 100 theaters, 120 theaters. This is because in the 60s there was a socialist government. And socialist government wanted to bring the arts to the people. So instead of people going to the theater 50 miles, they would just wait and sit until the show came to their little town. So all the towns have a similar system, are similar in size. In 1994, theaters were all equipped with the manual system, very much like here. Then suddenly there came a rule from America. It's called the Dios rule. And you have it also in this country. It is the rule that say that you cannot allow your people that work for you to lift more than 20 kilo or 25 kilos. So what happened in the Netherlands, they did a calculation what is happening in the theater. And there is this guy called Newton, he's English also, and he let the apple fall and things. And he made this wonderful little formula. Force is mass times acceleration. And if you take this to what we do in the theater, the Dutch government found out that we are not doing something that we are allowed to, that we are doing something illegal. So let's see what we can do in the theater and change the figures into something that we can work with. If we do that, we take a load of 25 kilograms, it's a piece of cloth, still a bar, the pipe of 100 kilos, and the counterweight, total mass of 250 kilograms. You do the calculation, and it says it's similar to 25 kilo of lifting. So hooray, we can lift 25 kilos of scenery in our theaters. Obviously, we could not make theater with this. So, the Netherlands was in a shock. What to do? Should we all close? Maybe. Now, that was a good idea, maybe, but the decision was not to do it. The decision was to automate all the theaters and to take out the counterweights and the hand ropes. And in the beginning, this created a lot of, how to say, let's do some cheap solutions. Let's try to be smart. And we call this the first phase of the automation in the Netherlands. It was about 10 years. It was from the 1995 to maybe 2004, 2005, that a lot of theaters made a solution by things that looked like this. After a while, everybody understood that it is not going to be a good idea to continue this way. You see, because of this traveling in the Netherlands, the show going from one city to another city to another city, the theater has more than 200 shows, different shows, every year. Show comes in at 9 o'clock in the morning. They unload the truck. They start building the set at 12 o'clock to 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Then they have show, and at 11 everything goes back in the truck to the other city. That is common practice. Now, you see that people were desperate at that time. So there were a few people amongst one of them, Stagecraft, who spoke this morning, that said, okay, let's Control-Alt-Delete and do it all over again. This is wrong. And they came with the design directives of the last 10 years. And you see on the right, it's a fairly simple plan. Every 20 centimeters a line, a bar, no caps, no lighting structures, nothing, just every 20 centimeters a bar and some on the side. No exceptions. For us, it was terrible. Because the first 60 bars was done in 3 months installation, but the last 2 or 3 under the trusses were sometimes another 3 weeks to get that done. But we had to have 20 centimeter a bar everywhere, every theater. Also, every theater at a speed of 2 meters a second, 1.8, 2 meters a second, and 500 kilo per bar. Now, when the government realized what this would mean, they gave us some money, subsidy, grants to develop a system. So my company is an extremely lucky company, because I got the customer here to make 6,000 winches, and I got the money here to make the winches. I'm a happy man. Okay, so for us, it started 10 years ago, 15 years ago with the production of winches and more winches. And we designed a new type of winch, especially for the theater. Not one that is long, but one that looks like a big, huge drum, and everything is inside. So it will be very silent, because it is its own environment. Obviously, with all the safety specs, the 2 brakes, the 2 types of load sensing, everything. As you can see, the development of the winch became a very big success, also because all the electrics are on top of it. So we didn't have electrical cabinets anywhere. Just that thing, the black thing, times 40, times 60 is your system. What's in there? Let's see if this works. No, I have to press something here. One of the things we worked on was this. Good music. The picture is for the technical people and the music is for the non-technical people to keep them in the lesson. That was a planetary gear, and the big advantage of the planetary gear was that with the 15 kilowatt motor, we had such a good efficiency that we had 15 kilowatt of muscle to lift things. Electronics was developed, and the result was solutions like this. You see the motors, including the electrical installation on the top, and you see how the bottom looks like. An empty workspace for point hoists, no cables, nothing, clean. You could have your office. Many solutions like this. I just said we have renovated almost 100 theaters. They all look a little bit like this. Places to put your point hoists. That is an arm. Otherwise, I have made a little note. This is the arm of a technician lifting less than 25 kilo to put a point hoist somewhere else. This point hoist is a single line hoist, yes? It only has one little single line, and the line goes back and is It looks like a cleaning machine. It's not a cleaning machine. It is a hoist. 250 kilos, 2 meters a second, synchronized with the rest of the system. Now, good sample of what we still make traditional winches, by the way. We still also have traditional winches. On the left is what we call the traditional winch. You see it lying down, and on the right you see the synchrodiscus. It was all about space. We had to renovate theaters. We could not build a new theater. So we had to put the winches in all different places. Weird places. We developed also the grid. On the left you see a typical grid that is put in the smaller theaters. It is made of steel wire, and the lights are above the grid. They go straight through the grid. It's an interesting concept. Here you see some examples of setups of those winches. On a balcony, on the floor, in the roof, somewhere in the roof that is like that, old building, on the side, and like this top. This one is one of the nicest. That is in a very old building, very much like this building, straight to the side. It's only taking 1 meter from the side. Okay, it gave us an enormous flexibility that everything was away. No cables, no nothing. You had really clean rooms up there to do other very interesting things. In the understage, our development was also there. We worked with spiral lifts, and we made obviously different understage projects, revolves, even completely changeable seating systems where you can set the height, could change your place from a place for a theater to a concert hall. One of the funny projects we also had in the last 10 years was the Reind Upper. That is a stadium. And the owner of the stadium wanted to have pop concert inside the stadium. But the truck could never get inside the stadium. So instead of making a tunnel, we took one portion of the tribune and just lifted it up and make it go down and up. The right bottom is elevator trucks made with spiral lifts of Gala. That's the product from Canada. Today we even make a complete theater. This is our first project in Bucharest, to make a complete theater with 2 restaurants and everything on top of it. But it is not our prime activity. Our prime activity is working with the operators and the overstage systems. Now, about norms. You have heard a lot about norms today. So it's just 1 page of summary. For the winches, we are always looking at the German norms, obviously the machine directive, and the norms that are in Europe, because we do not only do work in the Netherlands, we do in England, we do in Scandinavia, in Germany, in Spain, everywhere. For the controls, we obviously have developed, according to the 61508 SIL 3, what is the most important norm if you are thinking about controls. Is there anybody here that knows a product called CompuLight lighting desk? CompuLight Micron, CompuLight Photon? No?
If you want to translate.
Yeah, is anybody here know this CompuLight lighting desks?
I know it. Chi conosce le console CompuLight.
Okay, so I started a long time ago with development. I was in CompuLight, and I started to help them develop their way of programming a desk. And today in our desks, that one, you will find back something that is very similar to programming a lighting desk. Motor 2 at 5, go. Okay.
Let me translate.
No, maybe.
Devo tradurre o...
No. It's okay. The setup of our system, I'm not going to in detail, but there's one thing that is very interesting in our setup. We do not have brake resistors. Brake resistors, what is that in English? That you know. Brake resistor. Resistor met een vreemde.
Brake resistance.
Brake resistors. Okay. Because, okay, what we do is we take the energy if a load comes down, we generate this back for the load that goes up. So if you do something like this, you don't need the electricity company. It's like water that is almost flowing from one engine to the other. If you do like this, it's like a windmill. You provide energy for the electricity company and you will see your meter going. That's interesting. And that is why we were awarded the green little foot.
Because you are working in DC.
No, we are not working DC, we are working AC. But the interesting thing of a frequency inverter is that it takes AC, it makes it internally DC,
yes,
to make a new AC at a different speed. This is why the motor goes different speed. So what we do is we take central, the AC to DC, and make this one energy, one cloud of energy, you could say. With our systems going to many different places, we also had to do something about the support, obviously. Now, I told you that in the Netherlands the theaters travel from one theater to another. You know what? They share the shows. If you program a show in one theater and you come in the other theater, you don't have to bring the floppy. You don't have to reprogram. You just go log in the central database and download the show. The show is then translated automatically by your system to your situation in your theater. This is how we do it. And that setup now allows us internationally to contact all our systems and do most of the maintenance questions, issues. If there is a problem, we usually know it before the operator knows, because the system is sending its emails himself to our service department. Motor 25 is too hot. That is an email we could receive. I told you that the TNM was simple in its operations. Now this is our philosophy. Simple philosophy. Motor, number, add, number, cruise. That's it. Life can be so simple. It costs a lot of money to be simple. And then it runs. Control system. The control system is absolutely the most important part of your system at one point. You may have muscles, that's the motors, but at one point you want to do something artistic with it. Like, do this, do that, let me see this, let me see that. You know what? Let's have 5 birds do this. And they crawl up, and one bird must go to the floor and pick up a letter and go to Harry Potter. You have 5 minutes of programming time. One of the things that is very important about the programming system is randomization. You know something? In the early days of the synthesizers, they tried to make a sound like violin. You know when it became the sound of a violin? When they put dirt in it. When it was not really all together. You will not believe it. We can do synchronization less than 2 millimeters under every circumstances here. But we put a lot of effort in you being able to do a set of trees going up like that, instead like you know, the same was in moving lights. You know why the yoke spots are so much nicer to look at than the mirror spots? The mirror spots have no weight. They go and they make a straight line. What do the yoke spots? They swing. They go like boom, and you go, what are they doing? And then suddenly, like one accord, they go da-da, and now there you understand what is happening on stage. This is what it is about. Excuse me?
That's
Huh?
because it's sleeping.
Sleeping?
Yeah.
I should have power here.
No, there is power.
Oh, okay. Ta-da. That was a ta-da here. Controlling. Controlling is something you do not do in an office far away. Control is a job for on stage. You work on stage with the people on stage. You make something. You're part of the artistic team. That's our philosophy. And you must be able to control everything, over stage, under stage. It must be part of the same system. Why? An elevator comes up and something else hits it right there, because that's important. Controls will be something more even. I will show you later a little bit more of this. But inside our control, we have built a language, a software language for the really good operator, for the salespeople, for the companies that want to do something with it. It's called scripting. And they can enhance their own software. For instance, making links to smoke machines, to lighting. Controls is also about safety. You see the man there? That is an actor. Well, not. It's a picture. It's not an actor. It will be an actor that if he falls, or actress, or singer, and if he falls or she falls, you will find yourself in the newspaper in a way that you don't want. She could be Pink. Nobody knows this. Pink fell this way. It's the singer. Okay, this is what happened with us. This was the story about the Netherlands, the development. Now we're getting to part 2, some of the secrets. The secrets is always in the past. Engineers, study your old mechanics. The secrets are all there. What we do today is nothing else than what we did 100 years ago. We just do it better. That's all. Look at this. You know what we took from this bridge? We took the following. We had a problem, and that is in the understage you always use a lot of spiral lifts, and they are very expensive. And it is difficult to keep the balance. Complex structures like this. You see the banana shape? It's only standing on three points. Will that be stable or not? Here's the trick. The trick is, this one is for free, for everybody. The trick is, if you take a cable, and it's connected there, and it is connected there, and I start to push on this platform on one end, here, every 10 centimeters it goes up here, it must go up there. It means that I don't need 2 places to push something up. I just can have 1 place. And with this, we stabilized a lot of our platforms. There's the banana shapes. with a minimum of spiral lifts, minimum of depth, we made these systems. Again, this is the trick. There's one spiral lift on the left, and on the right there's only the guidance. Actually, the understage in this theater I saw an hour ago, it has a lot of steel on the side, but you don't need it. Just this trick. You can get rid of a lot of steel from this building. Now, on the right, the picture, those are 3 elevators, large size orchestra elevators, 4 by 4 meter, 4 by 8 meter, and they are lifted by only in total 4 spiral lifts. Okay, this is one of the tricks, and that is how it looks from the top. Another project that we worked on, and we used this trick, is a fully automated tribune. We had to bring up a platform, and we only had 10 centimeters of depth. This is, by the way, a project that was really crazy. To make a fully automated platform system within 100 days from order to first audience on the platform. Terrible. It looked like this in the design. And at the end, it looked like this. And so that I can have a glass of water, you will now see, hopefully, the 40 days of installation in less than 1.5 minutes. Just put these little things in that I can have some water and then about speed. All this renovation, 10 projects per year, 10 theaters per year, was done in the summer period. None of them closed. The summer period, in our case, is 12 to 14 weeks only, 3 months. So a project like this, but also the overstage, 60 motors, taking all the old stuff out, is done typically in the Netherlands in 3 months' time. That is like a military operation. Military operation of sometimes 24 hours of work a day in 3 shifts. It's almost ready, you see? I wish it went really this fast in reality. That would be nice. Now for this theater, this solution made a big difference in their programming. Suddenly they were able to program, Suddenly they were able to program theater and concerts and everything. Okay. Sorry about that. That's all in research and development. I said we as a company get grants from the government to do research and development. And one of the projects is about show control and the integration of mechanics with other things like projection. And especially one type of projection. Have a look at this. If it works. Yes. What if we don't only... Oh, come on. Sorry about that. You understood what the idea was about the film. With video, you can, in combination with mechanics, we have a program to work out what is needed to make this possible in the near future. The other thing that we are working on is the flying of people and everything that has to do with that. And I'm going to show you something, and let's hope we can see something. The flying of people is obviously based on, largely on point hoists, and especially on hoists to come together to hang people. I have no sound, but this is a production that we assisted with. That's the production Warhorse in the National Theatre in London. And as you can see, the flying is done really beautifully for theatre. It's not only for show. This is the part that it's a shipwreck and people are drowning. With the right lighting, obviously. The next step for us in flying, software and hardware, is this, if it works. Okay, I will not tease the computer any longer because the computer is really getting a bit hot, I think, of these pictures. Flying people is something that is obviously things that comes into mind if you are thinking about a rigging system. Now we have automated a full country. This is typically something that in Holland, what regulations do we have to cope with, etc., in the flying of people. Okay, now, well, I'm going to skip some pictures because let me see where we get. This won't work. I will go immediately here. The last thing that I wanted to show you is something about horizontal movement in any direction. And again, my movies are not working. Okay. I will skip the movies and go to the pictures only. I've never had it. Now, one of the things of inventions of our company and in the last 5 years that has to do with wagons is something that is called the omnidirectional wheel. And this is the picture of the omnidirectional wheel. It's a patented solution to make a platform, and the platform can move in any direction without steering. And I'm going to explain a little bit how it works. It was very clear on the pictures, but the idea here is that this little tube that you see here, this rotates in that direction. And once it rotates in that direction, it can actually drive a wagon on stage. But in that direction, it can skate. It is frictionless. So if you take more of these wheels under 90 degrees, you have a system that can float almost on stage in all directions. Let me see if I can show you something. This is the wheel in practice. And my movie is not working. Okay. So the understage, or let's say the wagons, is now doing something. Well, sort of. So this is the direction of the wheel that it is running. And for that reason, the unit will go that way, but can be controlled also in the Z direction. I'm very sorry, so many of the pictures are not working. But this is the project that we are working on, and at the end, I want to show you, if it works, I want to show you a little bit about a Dutch artist in mechanics, Theo Jansen, who is a good friend of ours, because he is, I think, really making the connection between mechanical and engineering and art. Probably you don't understand a thing of it because of the bad picture. It's not even starting. Okay guys, sorry about this. My films are apparently not working. This is a beautiful little picture about an artist, mechanical engineer artist, good friend of ours, that he is called Theo Jansen, and he has invented what we call the beasts on the beach. As you can see, autonomic walking creatures. And I always finish my lecture with this as a sign that engineering and arts are things that really combine together. Sorry about what has happened. That was what I had for you, and more that you didn't see. Maybe one day I can post you, if you want to see it, all the little pictures, I can post you so you can see it at home. Thank you.